Barack Obama was seen coming out of the residence of the Prime Minister of the UK. And this comes right after this Weekend article on Axios was released saying Obama would be jealous. Biden sometimes says when speaking about a perceived accomplishment, according to two Biden aides familiar with such instances. It talks about in that article the rivalry between Obama and President Biden.
That's right. And this is by the way, as we look at Barack Obama there, this is the first in-person meeting he's had with the Prime Minister. It was just a courtesy visit. Apparently, Mr. Obama was in London doing some business, and there you can see him leaving 10 Downing Street. But a lot of this, okay, so now all this information is out there, and Axios has got some great reporting on this, and a lot of it is key to the fact that over the last week or so, we've gotten a look at the transcript of Special Counsel Robert Hur's interview with Joe Biden. And it showed just exactly how hurt Joe Biden was when that man right there, Barack Obama, said, you know what, Joe, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go with Hillary Clinton because I think she's going to do a better job. And Joe Biden himself said to Robert Hur, he thought that at that point, he felt that Joe Biden, could win. However, Barack Obama felt that Hillary Clinton would be the next president. And of course, that didn't work out for her.
So it seems like there's also some scrutiny when it comes to the foreign policy of Joe Biden. They thought back in the day, I think it was like 15 years ago, it's my first political campaign, working on the Obama campaign, and they picked Joe Biden because he was the chairman, longtime chairman of foreign relations. Well, when he got into office as the vice president under Obama, it's said that they did not like his foreign policy, and it's always been in the Joe Biden's foreign policy. And the Obama thought that he would suck as president. They didn't think he would organize enough and execute enough. So now they feel like he's more vengeful in the sense of proving Obama wrong. And we've seen, Brian, where that's gotten the country right now.
Talks to Bill Clinton more than he does to Barack Obama. I did not know this. He kept a lot of staff on there, and he hired them above his staff. And they say that they're not loyal to Joe Biden. They're just there doing their own thing. And his staffers that have been with him for a while, who are more loyal, have resentment towards the Obama staff. One thing is right about the president. If you look at his garage, look at his attic, they say he's disorganized. No joke. Of course he's disorganized. There are people in life like me, I forget stuff back and forth. I would need somebody. I don't pretend as if I don't. Right. This guy is not built to be president of the United States, although I am, and we'll discuss that later. But
you did clean up your office. It looks much better.
Thank you very much.
Brian, you got to be 35 years old. I don't think you're quite there.
That's true. I have a birthday coming up, though. I just want to add one more thing. That story that Robert Hur brought up, that he brought up unsolicited, has been out from day one. But the fact is, Bo just died. Right. And they said he was in actual mourning during that time. That's what made it easier for Obama to make the pick. He's like, you know, he's older. Hillary Clinton's ready. Right. You know, she stopped being Secretary of State for 2 years just to get ready after one term, just to get ready for this. And Joe Biden was just lost his son.
The interesting thing that the way the article paints Joe Biden as a bitter man. I mean, I thought he was just partisan.
Absolutely.
When you think about what happens with, you know, on day one, undoing some of the Trump stuff. But it looks like it's not even partisan. He's out to show people that despite the reports, despite what you may see, that he's better. And the last thing I got to say, Brian, to your point about the Obama staff being in, he's so bitter with Obama, but he hires all his people. Well, it makes absolutely no sense.
We're wondering who runs the country. Maybe it's Obama's people.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's Barack Obama. But to that point, Lawrence, and this is what it all comes down to, when we look at the Joe Biden campaign right now, and it's kind of a head scratcher. It's like, why isn't he doing this or that or, you know, all this different stuff? It's like, who is advising him to make these bad choices? Is it somebody who is loyal to him, or is it one of the Obama people who was like, well, this is what Barack Obama would do, and not taking into consideration the limitations that Joe Biden has now?
It might have been a loyalty thing, to your point, because I remember when they were picking Hillary Clinton. Remember, they had asked Joe Biden, and he said, I'm not ready. I'm in mourning for my son, like you said. Right. I wonder if it's a loyalty thing. They said, all right, Hillary, you run this time. Next time, we'll put you up, Biden. And then they realized he was older, so they had to put all these
he thought he was done.
Yeah.
And like, no one could believe he ran.
But I also think that Barack Obama was interested in a woman president following him.
That's nice.
He was historic. The next one would.
Well, that didn't work out.
Well, it's clear how the staff. Do y'all remember that first event where Obama makes his first appearance back to the White House, and Joe Biden is just wandering around, and all the staff is swarming the former president, and you wonder who's running the show here. You got the current president of the United States can't even figure out where he's going, and all the staff is surrounded Barack Obama. So I think that's where some of the bitterness is that he still is the de facto leader of the Democratic
And keep in mind, he was he was in his first term as senator when he ran for president.
Right.
And this guy had been there for 50 years already. And I just think the one thing, Axios says the Obama people thought Biden would suck as president. I didn't think it was Obama. We don't know if he does. But we know that he had that famous line, don't underestimate President Joe Biden's ability to
F it up. Yeah.
Right. And to your point, Brian, where Barack Obama, when he was running for president, he had no foreign policy experience. That's why they tapped Joe Biden, because he'd been on Capitol Hill for 175 years. And ultimately, I think Joe was a little jealous of him right from the get-go. I've been trying to get this job since '86, and here this guy walks in. And he still continues to measure himself against the former president. I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.